What is good, everybody? Ciao, ragazzi. Marco Romano con Tito Yang here for another episode of Serie Addicts, talking about Serie A Matchday
Yeah.
8. Not a great weekend if you're a Juventus or an Inter fan,
Yeah.
but definitely a lot to talk about, not only as far as the games, but some stuff that has transpired outside of the pitch, right? Or in the pitch during matches, but not strictly related to playing
Yeah.
actual football.
Lots of news. Lots of news.
Yeah.
Well, one big news. Not maybe not lots of news, but like at least one big headline. But let's get started with the matches in order as we usually do. Uh Milan Pisa was played on Friday the 24th. Which it's kind of a weird date for us to do this episode right now because we already started match day 9. There are a couple of games that happened today, but we're gonna focus on match day 8 for this video.
Yeah.
Uh and starting with Milan Pisa, which remember the last episode I said, oh, I'm gonna predict one thing. Milan's gonna be on top at the end because I thought they were obviously going to beat Pisa, and this is what happens in this game. Cuadrado and Enzola coming up big for Pisa. Well, Cuadrado scored a penalty, but the 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 match started as if Milan was just gonna stomp them, right? Because Leao scored in the 7th minute, and then it took them a 93-minute equalizer from Atekame to actually keep any points in this match. They almost lost against Pisa. It's crazy.
No, definitely an unexpected result. I think we both had Milan winning pretty comfortably on this one.
Yeah.
So good for Pisa. Good result. Although when you look at the stat sheet, it's very lopsided in Milan's favor.
Definitely.
Right, 21 shots on goal versus 8, 7 on target versus 2. Right,
Yeah.
so 2 shots on targets, you can see 2 goals. Right, so maybe some of the things that you were saying about not being 100% sold on Milan's defense, right? Maybe it showed a little bit during this match.
Yep.
Maybe not as badly as other teams that we'll talk about later. But an unexpected result nonetheless. Good for Pisa. A stumble for Milan, but I'm sure they're going to be fine, especially with no European football.
Yeah. I think they're missing the creativity of Pulisic up front, though, because I think the games that Pulisic had played up to now, he had always been involved in some of the scoring or in some of the creativity of those plays. And I feel
Hmm.
like even though they got Leao back, now they're missing another important piece, which is Pulisic. And I think when they have both of them at once, it's gonna be a very dangerous team. But in this match, Rabiot was not there. um Pulisic wasn't there. So Milan, had obviously those two losses.
Which
And
are
they
big losses,
big
right?
losses, yeah. And then
Pulisic have been on fire. Rabiot obviously completely changes the game for them.
yeah.
Now you're asking Modric at 40 years old to do a lot more on the pitch,
Hmm.
right? Rabiot with Rabiot on the pitch, given that he's so good defensively as well, it gives Modric a little bit more time to focus on being that creative spark. Plus, Pulisic, who was giving a lot to them in that aspect as well, didn't play. Good for Leao because this is the second match in a row where he gets on the score sheet.
Yep.
And I think once Pulisic returns, once they're able to field Pulisic and Leao up front instead of Jimenez, I think Milan will be better offensively. Still concerning with Jimenez, right? And it doesn't seem like they have a lot of firepower coming from the bench.
Yeah.
And Kunku hasn't really done a lot. He's
Yeah,
scored
he's
one
still
goal since joining Milan, and that's
still
it.
trying to
Maybe
gel.
he can be an option. Time will tell. But yeah, I would say a stumble for Milan. I think that will improve. And again, the fact that you and I have talked about it, the fact that they don't have European football to worry about this season is a huge plus on their side. Um, but it shows that if Rabiot goes down with an injury, right? If Modric goes down, if Pulisic goes down, you got to be able to have that next man up mentality and be able to continue to keep the level at the
Yeah.
same
I mean, that
the
said,
same.
props to Pisa's goalkeeper Semper because he kept like 5 shots out. If he hadn't had such a good game, they probably would have lost. And Milan would be top of the table right now. But we'll see how this develops. It was
But
at
still a
least it was a
draw,
fun
right?
game. Yeah, it's a
And
draw.
a draw. It's not a loss, right? They're second
Exactly.
right now in the standings. Still playing well, just a stumble. Let's see if they can recover quickly. Hopefully.
Yep. The next match that happened was Parma Como, which we expected Como to do a lot
Como.
better. Yeah, but Como somehow was held to a scoreless draw by Parma. Good defensive work, I guess, uh, by the Blue Cerchiati. Um, not sure
Maybe that
what.
they Como spent it all on their match against Juventus. Uh, didn't see Parma versus Como, but surprising. Definitely expected Como to win. Parma, very physical team. Again, struggling offensively because it was a nil-nil draw. But yeah, Como, I still think Como, again, will be battling for one of the European spots. They showed it in their match against Juve.
Yeah,
Right?
but
It's not new.
it was crazy that Como had the ball 70% of the game and they couldn't really. They only had two shots on goal. It was. I think it was a defensive masterclass by Parma, if you ask me. Right, like this manager that Parma has, Carlos Cuesta, definitely an interesting guy. Right, he's not somebody who had like a professional resume. He's not a guy that had been manager of a lot of big teams, and he somehow has gotten these opportunities and he's done a great job with it. Like he's doing a good job with Parma, all things considered. He doesn't have like the strongest roster, but he's got 7 points up to this point. He's doing better than Pioli with Fiorentina. So
Yeah,
props
make
to
some
him.
changes, right? They
Yeah,
lost Boni,
but he was able
changed
to stop a
managers.
very offensive team because Como had been on a scoring
They're
rampage
physical.
lately. Yeah,
I think Parma, like Udinese, they're a very physical team and usually solid defensively. Parma, I think they just need to figure out their offense and start getting some goals.
yeah.
I think defensively they're solid. Obviously, I think top for them would be kind of mid-table. I don't expect them to do anything more than that,
Just staying
but
up
surprising
is a
that they were
win.
able to
Yeah.
keep Como and Nico Paz off the score sheet on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Good game. Good game for Parma. Not that great game for Como. But
I know you loved it, especially after the
well,
previous
no,
match day.
there was for as a Juventus fan, there's nothing to love about this match day for sure. Yes, it was just horrible. Like, uh, so next match, Udinese Lecce. That was a fun one. 3-2 the final score. Udinese get a win, which is, I mean, helpful for their campaign. They're sitting mid like ninth on the table. They're even with Juve at points right now with the exact same record, except Udinese has scored one more goal and let in four more goals. So I mean, good win for them. It was kind of a game that we would expect them to win, right? Udinese against Lecce. Lecce gave a good account of themselves. They scored two goals, even though one of them was kind of like in the 96 when everything was over. But at least they fought till the end, which is something that you like seeing in a team. I think Udinese ultimately too much talent, too much physicality for
Physicality.
Lecce's team. They're
Yeah.
strong team. Udinese, they got some strong people. I'm still a big fan of Ata. Ata
Ata is
dominates.
a
You know,
great talent. Hopefully, Saniolo can stay off the injury
yeah,
list for at least a while, right?
yep,
Because the dude seems to be made out of paper. He's always injured.
it's true.
Davis is good up front. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. If he
Yeah,
can improve his finishing, he can certainly do some damage. And for me, again, they're just big, physical. I wish Inter had Sole and that trade would have gone through,
yeah.
especially after what happened in the match against Napoli. But Sole,
He's
right, they
playing
have a
well
great
too.
defensive line. They're big. They're strong not only defensively but offensively as well. Even Ata is pretty big. So Not surprised about the score. Surprised that it was a 3-2 victory. I would have
Yeah,
not expected for so many goals to be scored in this matchup. But Atalanta was not Atalanta. Udinese
Lecce.
wasn't doing that well.
Le-
Haven't been doing that well
yeah.
this season.
Lecce had more of the
Lecce,
ball too. They had more crosses. They had, almost the same amount of shots on goal. So it's pretty even match. But Udinese, I think, pulled through because I think they have superior talent. And like you said, it's just they're more physical. They just got better players. I feel, they should be winning this game every time. I don't know. Like it seemed, it seemed like Lecce could have done a lot more with the amount of, you know, the ball they had, but that's how this game goes. Sometimes it's just
but
it's
Udinese is certainly the better team, right? So,
yeah,
hey, hats off to Lecce. They did score twice, right? To your point, they dominated possession. Um, I don't expect either of these teams to be kind of in the relegation zone by the end of the season. I may be wrong.
Lecce maybe.
Lecce, if any one of them, I think Udinese will be fine, kind of mid-table. But Lecce
Yeah,
haven't been playing that bad. I think there are other clubs that are struggling a lot more right now in the Serie A.
Fiorentina, for example.
Mm.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah. So next match is Napoli Inter, which was a banger of a match. Actually, it's like
the
pretty
circus.
intense. There was a lot of controversy as well. Um, you know, I think again, Sam Banguisa confirming he's a special player. Like his goal
Yeah,
particularly, and McTominay's goal was incredible, but Sam Banguisa's goal, that was a class. Just the his first touch to the side just to get rid of the defender was perfection. And I sometimes you look at a player and you think you define him by the thing that he does the best. And like with Sam Banguisa is basically controlling the midfield and his physicality and the way that he basically is a presence wherever he's standing in the midfield, or anywhere on the field for that matter. But in this particular instance, he pulled out the technique and it was nice to see. It was just
yeah. With
probably not for
Sambonguisa is
you, but it was like that.
also Sambonguisa. I've always liked Sambonguisa, right? Above right everything or beyond everything that you shared. He's just a threat offensively, right? When it
Yeah,
comes to
always.
set pieces or during clutch time, right?
Yeah,
In typical kind of old Conte Juventus fashion, they've gotten a couple of victories and points, um, right? In extra time or right before the game ends.
yeah.
And Anguissa has scored a lot of those goals.
He's usually
So
involved.
he's somebody
Yeah.
solid. You could count on, right? Especially when you have so many injuries going on, right?
Hmm.
De Bruyne scores the pen, but gets injured at the same time. Hopefully, nothing serious because that would be very bad for Napoli right now, especially with how many players they have on the injury list already. I heard Lukaku's set to return, which is very good news for Conte. But I
Definitely.
think Inter had a great first half. You had Bastoni hit the crossbar and the post. You had Dumfries hit the post.
Yeah,
So we were creating a ton more chances than Napoli. It's my fear and what we've talked about in previous episodes. My concerns with Inter has always been defensively. The all three goals pretty much came from the defensive mistakes. We've talked about Cherby being 37 years old and that he should be playing for Inter Miami and not Inter Milan.
that's true.
Right? It works when you have certain types of forwards, right? Somebody like Haaland, who he's used to defending, but I think Conte's formation, having a false nine instead of an actual number nine, confused Inter's back line a little bit. They caught him off guard a couple of times. Dumb mistakes. Finally, Akanji um, showed some kind of kinks in his armor. This is the first match since he's joined Inter that
Yeah.
he hasn't played well, and hasn't made the difference in the defense.
And I
But
have to
again, I
bring it
think
up. I have to
Debray.
I have to bring it up, bro, because we've been discussing this formation thing, and Conte switched to the four-man backline for this one, right? And he gets the W. We're just keeping track of this
Yeah,
because
but
we're
that
seeing.
hasn't, and
I
that
was having
hasn't, that doesn't, that
I was
has nothing to do with
I was
it.
having a
For
conversation with Yusuf about this, and
formations,
it's the same
formation
thing.
should be different for every team, right? I know you keep harping on formations, but
It's important. It's important.
the
It's
formation is
important.
dictated by the talent that you have on your roster. You're
That's
gonna try
true,
to
but
field
you if you when
your
you have
best 11,
choices, when you have
and then
choices,
it can vary from game to game. Like,
there's a reason why
this is not a
nobody plays 4 4
formation
2
issue.
anymore,
This
right?
is Inter have an age issue, which they have a
I
37-year-old
disagree.
Acerbi,
I disagree. You're
and
saying
they
that
have
like it's a
Debray.
fact, but I disagree. Yeah,
Okay,
I know you believe that, but
is
I don't
Acerbi
agree.
37 years old?
That he shouldn't be playing. You should be
So
playing
that's
a
a fact.
four-man backline and just leave him on the bench. You could be doing that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
And
That
what would be the
sometimes
other option? Debray, who's even worse
no, just
and
play
almost the
Akanji and
same age.
Bastoni with Dumfrey on the right, and then you need somebody to play on the left side, like just a left back,
You
Di
just want
Marco.
to shove the formation that you like talking
No,
about on a
I'm just
team
saying it's just
that
nobody
has
wins
been
with that three
successful for
defenders.
years.
Nobody wins with that. You win the
Okay,
Serie A,
no,
but that's
dude,
all you're gonna
we've
win.
had this conversation. We've had
I
this
know we're gonna keep
conversation. You
having it
said
the whole
that
season, and you're gonna
it works
see
for certain
that it's
teams.
gonna be a team with a four-man backline winning the championship. Probably Conte with
Okay,
this
Tito.
Conte with this
You can
lineup is
say what you
first.
can say whatever you want, dude.
Is
But
first.
Inter have been a lot better than Juventus, and they played three men. They got into
Juventus
the
also
Champions League
plays with
fight.
the three-man
Listen,
formation,
they
and
got
they
into the
suck.
Champions League. Let's put it to bed.
So
They got into the Champions League finals. You always see, oh, but
the only team that got there, and then they got scored on
teams like
five
Bayern
times. Like that's
Munich
not
don't
bragging.
play with a back three.
Like
We
I
beat
wouldn't
Bayern
brag.
Munich.
I
Teams
wouldn't
like
brag if that was the
Barcelona, we
case.
beat Barcelona. What other teams? What, PSG is the only one that you can throw in our face? Like, dude, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? The formation is
I'm
dictated by the
talking
talent you
about
have
if
in
you
the
look at the
roster.
last 20 Champions Leagues winners, you won't find a team that plays with three center backs. That's what I'm talking about. If you look at
What's your
any
obsession with the
I'm
formation,
just
dude?
because I feel like it's ruining Italian football, and most Italian teams are playing with that formation. If you look at the English league, if you look at the Spanish league, if you look at the German league, no, the majority of teams don't play with three center backs. That's a fact. I'm just stating facts. And if you look at
Dude,
the last 20 Champions Leagues
you just
winners,
hate Serie A. You just hate
no,
Serie A because
I'm doing a Serie A podcast and I hate
there's
Serie
been an
A.
Italian
Like
team in the
I,
Champions League
I
final
feel
for
like
the
you're
past
taking it personally
two
because Inter
times,
play with that formation, and it's
and
just
it works.
it works in
I think
Italy.
you're
That's
taking
what
it
I'm saying.
personal because
You
it
know,
uses it and you don't like it because you guys haven't been doing well and winning.
no team that uses it except for Inter does well with it right now.
And which is what I'm
Anywhere,
saying.
anywhere,
It depends on the team and the roster that you have, what formation you
and
should
who
be
you're
playing, but
playing
you can't
against.
force
Because if you play against a
one
team,
formation.
if you play against a team that's a good team that plays a four-man backline, and you
Are we
play
gonna
with a
talk
three,
about the actual
yeah.
game or just go back and forth? Because you're never gonna agree to anything. You just
No,
want to talk about
we won't
formations.
agree on the fact that the formation doesn't matter because obviously that's why managers get hired and fired.
I'm not
But
saying that it doesn't matter. I'm
let's talk
saying
about
that a back three is not a bad thing if you have the appropriate roster. That's what you don't get. I'm not saying that it's better than 4-4-2 or whatever other formation.
I
I'm
know, but
saying for Inter it's worked.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying there's a
And we
reason
beat all of
why.
the teams that you would call out
Again,
as the best in
but
Europe that have a back four, like Bayern
that does
Munich,
not.
like.
Even if you're right, that does not negate the fact that the last. I could say the last 30 Champions League winner have not used that formation. That it doesn't negate the fact
The past
that
what?
the past 20 Champions League winners have not used that formation. Like that just it goes to say something. Like if the team that always wins does not use it, it must be for a reason. I'm just
Unless you
saying.
can look it up, that's your opinion, and it's not a fact.
I already looked it up. I
At
actually
least
did look it
I
up.
got you to say that I'm right. That it just depends on the team that you have.
I did look it up, but and I was talking about it with cousin. Only Barcelona, I
Oh
think
my god.
the Barcelona team actually played like that
So let's talk
with that
about the
lineup.
actual game, right?
Mm.
One thing that I didn't like about the game was the additional parts of it, Lautaro and
Oh yeah,
Conte
fight.
going at it. I think I think Lautaro bat on him as the Inter captain,
Yeah, not a
just
good look.
stooping that low because it was obvious that Conte knew that they just lost De Bruyne. right? It's Inter, right? It could have easily gone the other way. He plays the mental game. I think that's
Hmm.
another issue with Inter. I think they communicate, but all they do is complain all the time. Especially Barella. I think Barella could be probably one of the top 5 or 10 midfielders in the world. He's certainly world class, but all he does is bitch and complain. Anytime I see that somebody misses a pass or whatever the case may be, or they don't play the ball to him, it's always like,
Yeah, and
it's like,
he's been
listen, dude,
inconsistent.
you gotta mature. At some point, you gotta mature. You gotta be the bigger person. Same to Lautaro. I think it showed a lack of leadership. It showed some of the stuff that happened in preseason with Lautaro, with Shalanoglu. It
Yeah, that
showed
was
that there's still some cracks in
unnecessary.
the armor, that there's still some unease within the Inter locker room. I didn't see any leadership, not only on the pitch and from our captain Lautaro Martinez, but also anytime they would put the cam on Kiwu, literally like no idea what the hell to do. He seemed like a deer in headlights, like no clue what to do versus Conte, who was passionate. He was edging the team on, right, doing what Conte does. So I think the difference as far as the level of managers showed during
Yeah,
that game, it made a
yeah,
big difference. Napoli had two great goals from defensive errors by Inter. Awesome goal from Anguissa. McTominay's goal as well was really good.
yeah.
So great finishes coming from defensive mistakes. But I think it's the lack of communication. They should focus more on actually communicating in the sense of getting better, and in where to cover, how to pass the ball, what type of approach to take instead of just bitching and complaining, which is I feel what they did the majority of the game.
Yeah.
Good
Also,
win
in
for
some
Napoli.
in these games, sometimes like I feel like Inter misses a player like Marcos Thuram, because if you had him that you could throw in the middle of the box and just he will get on one of those crosses and head it in, right? Because he's great at that. I feel like that's where sometimes if you don't have him and have Boni, they're like very different styles of players. Like Boni is
Yeah,
very like he makes a lot of stuff happen, but it's mostly off of the run, right? Like moving around. And Turam can make something happen out of a stationary position, like a set piece or something like that. So I feel like sometimes if Turam's not there, I don't think Inter has that aerial presence like in the box that they have with Marcos Turam. But we'll see. I mean, Pio Esposito
now
could certainly
I
be
wouldn't
that
say
type of
that.
player,
I
but
think Boni didn't add a lot in this match, but I wouldn't say that. Like Inter hit the crossbar, hit the post twice, and it was all 3 times from
yeah,
headers
but it was
from.
like with defenders, right? Like it
And
was
if you look it
Bastoni.
up, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's a fact, but I'm pretty sure that Inter has the most goals from set pieces, and the majority of those are headers.
Yeah,
Probably some
they have
from
the most
Turam
goals
as well.
overall, like
But you
in the
have
Serie A.
Pio, but he's pretty tall. You have Bastoni, you have Acerbi, you have Debray when he plays. You have Akanji, you have a ton of aerial threat,
Yeah.
Lautaro.
I just wouldn't put them
So
on the same level as Marcus as far as like the forward, right? Because
no,
sometimes the
he's a better
defenders are in the
forward.
back and you're passing the ball forward like that. And
I
no,
think Boni does some of the things Marcos does well. Same with Esposito with the hold up play, does some stuff uh, at the same level as Marcos does, but definitely Marcos is better overall player, the
yeah.
better package, the better striker. Hopefully he'll come back soon, but I think it was more the mental game. I think Inter, the first half, I'm happy with it. Again, we hit the post twice, the crossbar created a ton of chances. I think it all went to shit when after Lautaro and Conte got into it. After that, it was a completely different team. It seemed like they didn't really even care. They were just going through the motions. It was a bit pathetic. Honestly, I was expecting them to show a little bit more fight. As a fan, I was definitely disappointed in how they reacted and how that match ended.
Well, you can't win them all. At least you're still up there. The next match, I
Yeah,
guess, if we ready to move on, is Cremonese Atalanta. That was a
but let's
surprising
talk about
result.
formations, bro. Let's talk about formations.
Cremonese and Atalanta played with I can tell you what formations they use. Atalanta used four-man back line. Cremonese used the three center back formation, and they drew 1-1. Uh, But again, like I see like some teams use it, some teams don't. Some teams use it in some games and not in others. So it's interesting just to see that from a tactical perspective. Um, this match was pretty even. I would say from a ball possession, it wasn't. Atalanta had the ball 65% of the time, so they had the ball most of the game. And then but then I think Cremonese had better shots on goal if you think about it, because Cremonese's goalkeeper didn't do a single save, and Atalanta's goalkeeper had a bunch of saves. So kind of a weird match in the way it went. Cremonese just had Atalanta just let them have the ball, but then they did better things when they had it, I guess. But still, 1-1 draw. I think fair result from what we saw. You know,
Yeah,
both.
just weird, right? Because Atalanta are playing a different style that we're used to seeing from them. I saw a bit of their match earlier today against Milan, and I was surprised, right?
Yeah.
Because they were dropping back and conceding possession, which is not what I'm used to seeing from Atalanta. It's always like controlling possession, and when they don't have the ball, it's immediate pressure on the ball.
But I mean, they did
Uh,
have the ball mostly in this game, but they didn't just they couldn't kind of like convert their possession into anything meaningful. It was like 65% possession for Atalanta. They didn't really they didn't really do anything meaningful with it. They scored once, but it was in the 84th minute. Like so, almost at the end, like at the end of the game. Uh, but this is Ivan
Yeah, but
Juric Atalanta.
Cremonese
It's
again, one
different.
of the surprises this season thus far.
100%.
They've
Yeah.
been playing well.
Yeah.
Another good game, a good result versus another good team. I think Atalanta are still figuring it out. Right,
Yeah.
and getting Lukman and integrating him. I hope they figure out a way to play Lukman and Sulemana at the same time. It hasn't worked out as well as I expected the times
Yeah.
that they tried it out thus far. But Cremonese have been playing well. Goal for Vardy, right, since joining. Interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for the rest of the season with Cremonese as well.
You want to hear a crazy stat
But
about Atalanta? They have not lost a game yet in Serie A.
no, the only undefeated team, but they've
That's
drawn a ton.
crazy. 7 draws, but they haven't lost a game. And Juric is still keeping his job because he's in 7th place. 7th place.
And until right up to the point where he could continue to use that stat line, right? Hey, we're the only team that hasn't lost and said, yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. He's undefeated.
He gets to keep his job, I think. But I think we all got it wrong, right? We talked a lot about not to get ahead of ourselves. I know we talked about it a little bit further on, but I
Yeah.
think we've been talking a lot about who's in pole position in the hot seat, who's the first manager that's going to get sacked, and
Yeah.
we got it wrong. It wasn't
We got it
Juric
wrong. It wasn't Baroni either. Speaking of Baroni,
or Italiano.
Torino beat Genoa 2-1 with Baroni in
Torino
charge.
have been playing better. They've
Yeah,
been playing better.
they have been doing better. Yeah, absolutely.
Better football from Torino, which is good for them, good for their manager.
Yeah, it's 2
Kind
wins
of
in a row, right?
dominated.
2 wins in a row for
Yep.
them. Yeah. So good job, Torino, coming back. Did win this one in the 90th. So kind of they left it to the last minute to win it, but just kind of like the last win that they got, which was like a scare with that goal
Yeah,
that
was
was
it a
ruled
win or
out.
was it a draw? I can't remember, but
No,
there
they
was
won
one where
against
they
Napoli.
scored late.
They
Yeah.
won. Yeah. The Napoli scored late, but the goal was ruled out. Um, so good job, Torino beating Genoa. Genoa is not, I mean, not one of the top teams, but again, they haven't been doing that badly, if I remember correctly. Except yes, they have. They're
Yeah,
last.
but
They're
Torino
terrible.
definitely the better team on paper.
Yeah.
Torino is the better team on paper. I think we both had them above Genoa, right,
Yeah.
to start off. So glad to see that they're seem to be starting to get their stuff together.
Nope.
Gonna obviously still early in the season, and it was against Genoa, so not taking a whole lot from that match, but 2-1 victory,
Yeah.
good win.
Yes, sir. Verona and Cagliari played to a 2-2 draw at Verona. And it took a last gas goal from Felici. A lot of goals scored in the last 10 minutes in this match day. like a lot of them.
That's
People
good.
scoring the 92nd, and so
Entertaining, dramatic matches.
yeah, Felici pulled out the draw for Cagliari on this one, like in a 2-2 match. It was pretty contested. Verona went up 2 goals to nil with Gagliardini and Orban, but then Idrissi and Felice, actually Felici caught them up in the last 23 minutes of the game. Gift Orban is a very interesting player from Verona.
Yeah.
Nice
I was just gonna say the
talent.
same thing. He's definitely been playing well. One of the, if not the best player for Verona thus far
Yeah,
this season.
pretty
Nothing.
interesting.
I think Verona. But when I think Verona, I always think like a tough matchup for anybody. I don't know. I may be mistaken, but I feel that's one where you think most teams would be glad to see on their calendar, but they're a tough team. They're usually a tough team to beat.
Hmm.
They're solid. As far as their formation and the way they play, they're pretty solid. You could say kind of the same about Cagliari, so not surprised that it was a 2-2 draw.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're
Obviously,
they're hovering
neither
very
team takes a
close.
whole lot from it, but
Yeah.
it shows. It's more probably where they're gonna finish at the end of the season, right? They're gonna be very close to each other, battling for some of those same spots.
Yeah.
But an entertaining matchup. Again, it went down to the wire, right? Uh, what was it, 92nd, 93rd minute,
90
where
second, yeah.
Felici scored.
90 second.
So came down to the wire.
Crazy.
Cagliari saved the point at least. Verona probably disappointed and not getting the win, especially getting so close to the final whistle.
Yeah.
But
They
again,
were literally
even
two
matchup
up
from two
until the
even teams.
77th, right? Like, so two up, and you just got like 13 and change left, and they let them score twice. So,
And with two
but
shots on goal, right? Because
yeah,
Cagliari ended up with two shots on goal. So
they just got to keep their concentration the whole
yeah, so
match.
that's got to be a tough pill to swallow for Verona.
Yeah.
But it
But
happens. It's football. That's
that's
why
what
we
it
love it.
is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sassuolo and Roma was kind of like a tight, contested affair, but Roma pulled it out in the end with an early Dybala goal on the 16th minute.
Yeah. It seems like a typical Roma scoreline, right?
This
In the
season, right?
Gasperini
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
Again, no goals conceded, so they continue to have the best defense in Serie A.
Hmm.
Still, right? Let's see if they can start scoring more goals. Good to see Dybala get on the score sheet. Obviously, amazing player. But still looking good under Gasperini. I gotta give him props. This was not the way I was expecting him to have his team play.
That's true.
Um, but it's effective, especially in Italy.
He's sitting at second place after this match day 8, right? And then if he wins the next match, he could tie Napoli at the top of the table with 21 points. So, and Roma has only allowed 3 goals in 8 matches. I mean, that's impressive. You know who the second best defense in the league is, incredibly? Como, which,
Como?
yeah,
How?
Como has only allowed 5 goals. That's crazy. Como? How? I don't know, but they've done it.
Probably
So,
the style of play, right? They play kind of Spanish style football under Cesc Fabregas. They
yeah.
keep a lot of the possession. So
Yep.
if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't get attempts on
Yeah.
target.
But Roma is a different story. Roma is just like defensive solidity. I mean, and they do have
Yeah.
more of the ball than the opponent, but not to the level that Como does. Like Como, definitely, like you said, it's basically a Spanish team playing in Italy right now. It's what it
Hmm.
looks like, you know. Um,
But I don't know, Roma. It seems to be working in Serie A. That's why I made that comment because they haven't done well in Europe.
yeah,
Right, they dropped points in their last match. I can't even remember the team that they played, but I know it's a team that they should have beat, especially with how they've been doing in Serie A.
yeah.
Another one that it would be interesting to see if Roma get knocked out of European competitions pretty early in the season, right? That would be another team along with Milan,
They become a
probably
real threat
Napoli. That was
for
one
the
of the biggest
challenge.
surprises on Napoli beating Inter because they just have gotten whooped by PSV in the Champions League. Um,
Yeah.
but it would be interesting to see again which teams kind of keep moving on in the Champions League rather in European football, and which teams have a little bit of a break in the schedule towards the mid or end of the season.
Yeah.
But props to
Speaking,
Gasperini, props to Roma, man. That's awesome.
yeah, you're playing really well. Speaking of a team that could use a break in the schedule, Fiorentina was up against Bologna. That's a That's a tough one for Fiorentina, especially when your job is on the line being Pioli, right? The manager of Fiorentina, who, a loss would have maybe been the last straw for him, who's doing a terrible job. Fiorentina's in the relegation zone right now. He managed to eke out a draw against Bologna, coming back from 2 goals down in the
And
second half.
right, another goal in the 94th minute by
Yeah.
Moise King,
Yep.
right, to
That's
tie things up
saving
with
his butt.
home getting red carded in the 83rd minute. So Bologna playing a man down, couldn't seal the win.
Yeah.
That was very lucky for Italiano. I didn't
Pioli.
even know that
Pioli.
Moise
No,
King,
Italiano.
Pioli.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Moise King was back. That's good, right? Because I know we have the next
National
international
team, yeah.
break coming up, not that far away. So glad to see that he's back in on the pitch.
Yeah, we need him.
Goal from Goodmanson that I felt there was a lot of noise about him like a year and a half ago, and he kind of went dark. Hasn't really done much or that much since moving over to Fiorentina. So one manager lives to fight another day,
Definitely. Yeah.
while
Like
another
that.
manager doesn't.
Yeah, that guy's having a rough time. So the last game, obviously, that we want to talk about is Lazio Juventus. That game was horrible for Juve, actually. It was just it seemed like it was confusion all over the pitch. But more than that, I like you could tell like the players were frustrated, the manager was frustrated, everybody was frustrated. It's not that Lazio was this irresistible force, that Juve couldn't control. Like Juventus literally had 60% of the ball in this match. They had 5 shots on goal. Turam had 2 clear headers that he sent straight at the keeper. It was just
Nah, there are a ton of wasted
there were
opportunities.
so many wasted chances, and it resulted in Tudor going back to the locker room and having a fight with the players and having a discussion with a bunch of people, and he ended up getting sacked, uh, which was definitely not expected. Like I was not expecting that, just like so abruptly. So something must have happened that was you know, somebody crossed some line. Probably Tudor sent told somebody fuck off. If I had to guess, you know. Uh,
But I think along the similar lines, what I was speaking about with Inter, like earlier, like sometimes the stuff that's happening outside of the pitch, you can see it reflect and have an impact on the pitch. I
yeah,
think it's the same with Juventus. I think I have no idea how Juventus with even the players that they had on the pitch, how they can struggle so much to kind of just play cohesively.
yeah,
It sometimes it feels like these players haven't played a game together in their lives. It's
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 weird.
frustrating.
It's
I'm not
weird.
even a Juventus fan, and it's just it gets frustrating
Listen,
because
I'm gonna
they
be
create a ton of opportunities, but they
no.
can't put them
I'm
away.
gonna be honest, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if you get those 11 players and you say, "Hey guys, we're gonna get together to play a game of football just between friends, like 11 guys, and we're just gonna play like a random team of 11 people." I could bet you they play better than what they play like on the field with no coaching. If you just told them we're just gonna show up and just like scrimmage, no coaching, like you do whatever you want, right? Like you know how you go and play with your friends, and it's you could go with your friends and play an 11 aside, and nobody has a coach, but you're like I'm playing center back, and you're playing center back, and he's playing right back, and he's the left, full back, and
Yeah, but
You
that's what
know,
I was gonna say. It depends on which friends, dude. Because if I go to play with you, you're gonna start like having us play certain formations and shit.
yeah,
Nah.
4-4-2 for sure, because everybody got to know what the fuck they're doing. But like the thing is,
It's like
there's
Yusef, your left back.
there's basic formations in football that everybody knows how to play because they grew up, and your coaches would play one or variation of that
Don't go,
formation
don't,
or
don't
another,
go, don't go in
right?
the formation tangent. But I
So
get you. But
so
maybe it's with Tudor. Maybe it's
if you
always been an
play an
issue with Tudor.
all-star game, like if when you play the NBA all-star game, it's not like they got plays and they're drawn up. If you play an all-star game or like one of these legends games that they do now all the time, you put 11 players on there. It's not like they're training together. It's not like they got tactics. They just put in there and they can pass the ball between, they can make 4 or 5 passes in a row. And you take this Juventus team and they practice together every fucking week. They travel together. They go everywhere together. They do commercials together. They hang out together. Like, and when they play on the field, they can't make 3 passes between them. Like, what the hell? Like, how is that even possible? I just don't understand like how somebody could train together like that and you can't freaking find your teammate with a cross. You don't know how he runs. You don't know where he's gonna be. Like, what the hell, man? I honestly, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to feel like no matter what manager you put there with these types of players, and you can take out Ildis, you can take out Turam, right? Like those two, and Bremer when he's not broken. Everybody else I like McKenny because of his attitude when he plays. You know, you could tell he's trying to make shit happen. But everybody else is just like they just should not be playing there. They're not at that level. They should be playing at Sassuolo. They should be playing at Sampdoria. They should be playing Parma somewhere else. Like they're not the standard of player that we like that Juve, a team like Juve with the money that Juve has, should be putting out on the field. It is what it is. I mean, Conceição is a good player. He's
I think you
decent.
guys have the
You know,
talent. I think you have the talent. That's what's surprising about it is that you've had gone through so many different managers that can't figure out. I don't know if because these players are being forced to play a role or in a position that they're not used to or it's not their best. Probably it's a part of it. I actually called Miners, and I know you shitted on a lot this season. I think I saw the match, and I think he was one of the better players for Juventus. Actually, put in a couple of great passes to create some good opportunities. One that David wasn't able to finish. But
yeah,
I think some of the new signings, Openda, David, are not adding a whole lot. Vlaovic fell back to usual Vlaovic that we've
yeah,
been seeing for the past couple of
bitching at
seasons.
people and like I mean, I don't
I
know,
think
man.
Locatelli, right, and with what you mentioned, I think Locatelli is
He's
not a
not.
player at the Juventus level. He may have a good pass here and there, but overall, I think he shouldn't have that position in a team like Juventus.
Nope.
You could probably with him probably a couple more. I like Segrova coming off the bench. I would like to see him
Yeah.
more.
But he's always
Um,
broken too. There is like a problem where it's like Cabal, he's always broken. The Grova's always broken. And like we have these players that are always broken. And now Zegrova
but
played like a
Kostic has
little
played
bit.
well as Kostic
Yeah.
is good as well. You got a lot of
He's
talent.
just
It's
a terrible defender
just
though.
a lot of it, maybe more than you need. And then just figuring out what pieces work the best. It's kind of
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't say
I
it's kind of
question
getting, and I hope it doesn't. It doesn't become a Chelsea situation
I
where
question the talent thing because like if you look at the back line, like right now, if you take out Bremer who's broken, Kelly physically he's talented, but from a like an awareness perspective, he's never focused. Like he's always losing his man. Like I don't think he's a like a Italy level defender. That's one. Rugani is a role player. He's like somebody that's good to bring off the bench if somebody breaks his ankle during a match. But he's not
Rugani is
somebody
like
that you want to
the
start,
Darmian
right?
from a Juventus
And
standpoint.
then and then like who else do we have? Kalulu doesn't know if he's a right back or a center back. He's kind of like average at both. And so I don't really know that we got the talent in the back line. Di Gregorio has shown to be a very average goalkeeper. He's not really. Chesney was a better goalkeeper than Di Gregorio. It's like it
I think
hurts
he
to
has
say.
good reflexes.
That's it.
I think overall you can find a lot better keepers,
Yeah.
especially in Italy. I think if there's one position where Italy has a just a vast number of talented players in that position is definitely goalkeeper. So, but he's been good. I couldn't put it all on Di Gregorio because he's probably saved a ton of
Yeah, but he
opportunities as
also
well.
let like a couple of opportunities in that shouldn't have
But
been.
yeah,
But
he's not.
yeah,
I would probably not even top five Italian goalkeepers. So again,
he's
for a
not in
team
the
like
national
Juventus,
team. He's
you
not
should
in the
have
national
somebody a
team.
little bit better. I think
Yeah,
some consolidation, right? Because you have great players and good players, like two, three of them for each position. I think you need to start getting rid of like the third option, second option at some of the position and go for
yeah,
just
man.
better and more talented players.
It's just the market was a disaster. They bought
It's just for Italian teams, it's
they
hard,
bought a
man. It could be
fullback. They
freaking
bought João Mario, and they don't
with the
play him.
Premiership.
João Mario doesn't play. He's too weak to play in
Yeah,
Italy.
but I think that's another one that it's not a Juventus caliber player. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
he's too weak. He's too weak to play in Italy. Kostic is offensively solid, but defensively weak. So not good enough to play in Italy, especially that position that they want him to play. Like the way he could play as an attacker, like as a like a winger. He could play as a winger, but he can't play as a fullback because he just doesn't have those lungs to get back. And defensively, he's just not gonna give you that. He's more of like an offensive guy who's good at crossing it. That's it. That's all he does. João Mario is the same thing, but on the right side. So we have two players there that we can't use them in this formation that we're trying to play. That's the first thing. So that's why they're not even starting. And then the players that you're trying to put in there, McKenny, that's not where he's supposed to be playing. Again, like it's Cambiaso is supposed to be playing there, but Cambiaso plays one good game and then he's shit for the next 3 games. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he wanted to go to City and they didn't let him, and now he's pissed. I don't
I
know.
don't think so, man. I think
He's
it's some
just
like
terrible.
there's something going on outside the pitch.
The management is
No,
just
hopefully,
going out the
right?
window.
I don't know if hopefully it's the manager, probably more than that. But
I
now
think
let's
Tudor
see
is paying for
who
other
they
people's
can bring
mistakes.
in.
It's gonna be Spalletti. So that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Spalletti, like I'm telling you right now. Brambilla is gonna manage the team the next match, and Spalletti is gonna be in charge this weekend.
Let's see, but you guys gotta get rid of some players and just get some better talent. Because up front, I couldn't even tell you who I would start because it's like it's the same. None of them are scoring right now, so who gives a
Honestly,
shit?
honestly, if you ask me, I would stop the fuck. And I know you don't want to talk about formations, but I would stop playing with three center backs because the reason is we don't have three good center backs. So why would we play with three center backs? We don't have three good center backs. So let's just play with two center backs, and then you can play, Joao Mario on the right and Cambiaso on the left, or Cambiaso on the left and McKenny on the right, and that's your four-man back line, and then just put four people in the midfield. And then up front, what you can do is, since you have a left footer who's a tall guy and a right footed player who's a shorter guy but very tricky, you could play Yildiz and Vlaovic up front, Vlaovic off to the right and more advanced, Yildiz off to the left and a little bit further back. Right, so he could be creative and tricky and cut inside and shoot with his right foot. It's so easy. That's the players you have. You could play like that very easily. You could do that. And then you could play Conceição as a right winger or an RM. And then you can play on the left as a LM. That's where I don't know who you'd be playing, honestly. That's where I'm like, Juve doesn't have that player that should play there on the left side, um, in the mid, in like a midfield type
You
role.
should have Cambiaso. You should have
But if you
Cambiaso
put
and have
Cambiaso there,
somebody
you
else
got to put
further back.
somebody else behind them, like Kelly.
Kelly, I
So
would
maybe
put
you could
Kelly.
do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, maybe you could play Kelly
that's
there,
what I told
Cambiaso
you
in
on the
front of
last
him.
episode that
Yeah,
I would do because
it'd be better. It'd be more
it
balanced
doesn't
team.
it doesn't make and I think uh, Vlahovic and Yildiz. I think a lot of the assists that Yildiz has gotten have been from Vlahovic, and same the other way around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
It's like
I
that's
think they've
the
proven that
logical.
they've at least worked well
Yeah,
together. Versus
yeah.
David
It's the
hasn't shown
logical.
anything.
It's the logical combination of players if you think about it, because you have a left-footed striker that can play off to the right, a right-footed attacker that can play off to the left, and they play well off of each other. So it just makes sense. Like, why do they not do that? I don't understand. That's what makes sense
Uh,
from a tactical perspective. But
let's see. Probably for the next match, I doubt that they'll change anything much. But if it is Spalletti that comes in, it's gonna be interesting to see what changes he makes right off the bat.
he plays with the
Maybe
three fucking
it's a kind of
center
bad
backs.
apple situation, and maybe the bad apple was Tudor, and
No,
maybe it
I
changes
don't think
things
so.
for the better.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so either, right? Because this is something that has been going on for years and through different managers' tenure. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think the manager changing the manager is going to do much about it.
yeah.
But it's weird. It's a weird situation because you guys definitely have the talent. You should be able to figure out at least one to two options that
Exactly.
make sense and allow you to get results and be effective. And plus, it's just the inconsistency, right? Because you're able to play an amazing match against someone like Inter, and then you fucking play against Lazio and do nothing.
That's the thing. It's a psychological thing, and it's just a matter of it. If it's a psychological thing, then yeah, it's on the manager. But I think the players, from a potential perspective, they have the potential. But like again, from like a heart and dedication perspective, I don't think everybody's giving 100%. I see some players trying to do anything they can do to win, but I don't see everybody doing the same thing. And I think that's down to the manager, but I think management did a terrible job in shopping for players this season. That's the reality of it as well. So let's see how it goes. We'll see how we cover the next match day, because the first couple of matches of match day 9 already happened. They actually happened today. So I don't know if we want to talk about those or if we're gonna do another episode which covers 9 and 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably, and since right, because we usually give our predictions, but since some of the games happen already, some are slotted for tomorrow. I
Yeah.
say we hold off, and then for the next episode, we focus on the remainder of the games and the games that happened today for match day 9 and then match day 10. Have a little bit more to talk about. I think we can talk about at least for Juventus, right? Who they're playing, Inter, who they're playing, right?
Yep.
Not talk about the ones that just happened, but right, Juve play Udinese. Udinese had a good game last match day, right? Juventus going through a lot. So it's going to be
Absolutely.
interesting to see what happens, right? Not expecting a whole lot of change from Juve, just expecting them to go through the motions. Maybe it lights a fire under their asses. It's going to be interesting to see, at the very least, if that happens. Inter Fiorentina. I think this is kind of hopefully Inter get their shit together. For this one, Fiorentina haven't been doing well, but they've at least saved Pioli's job for now. If all goes south and Inter get the victory, do you think that Pioli may get sacked and may be the one following Tudor out the door?
I don't know, man, because he hasn't gotten sacked yet, and Inter is not a team that I would expect them to beat. So that's that I think is gonna be. I don't think he's gonna get sacked after the next game. I think if he loses the next game, that's kind of expected. But I think if he manages to get some points out of it, then then he shows that he can make some progress. Then he maybe save himself. If he loses, and then I think the next match becomes like the sentencer. Like if he loses, or if he loses horribly, like if Inter score 5, I think he's going home. But I don't know. We'll see. He's got way too much talent in that team to keep sucking for so long without getting, without paying for the consequences. I think
No.
I think Tudor got sacked a lot faster with better results. So obviously I'm glad we didn't bet money on Baroni or Sarri or Pioli, because Juventus, I don't know what management is doing, but they This is not the
Yeah, so
Juve I grew
certainly
up with.
was not expecting that. It's been a roll. I know it's been a roller coaster as far as results for you guys this season, but certainly not expecting that. There's a
No.
ton of other teams that have been doing a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I think you called it. You called it right. There's got to be something else going on there from a management standpoint and with the players. Uh, Obviously, without talking about the matches that already took place today, we'll save that for the next episode. The other two that I'm curious to see what happens is Como Verona and Bologna and Torino. Right, just it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those two matches. Right, with Como kind of not performing as well the last match day as they did the prior game against Juventus,
Hmm.
and Torino, who have been playing well of late, with Bologna, who have been playing well of late. So that's another one that should be interesting to see for match day 9. Um, how those two matches go here in the next couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a
Match
lot
day
of
10, a couple of good ones in match day 10. Napoli Como should be a good matchup.
interesting. Yeah.
Cremonese Juventus, right? Cremonese playing well
Tricky team.
for the beginning of the season, and
Eh,
now with Super Vardy.
might be the first game of the new manager as well,
Mm. And
depending
then I
on how
think this one is
fast, happened.
before the the international break, if I'm not
It
mistaken,
is,
or
yeah.
maybe
It's
the
it's
next one.
next weekend. It's this weekend actually, November the 1st and up to
Yeah.
3rd. So
Verona Inter, which is not again for me not an easy matchup ever when you draw Verona.
yeah,
And then we got the big one for match day 10, which is going to be Milan Roma.
yeah. It's gonna be a
Which
good game.
again, that was going to be a good one based on the performance from both teams thus far. Is Roma going to be able to continue to kind of keep these score lines of 1-0, right, 2-0, 2-1, and see if they can hold off? Not sure if Pulisic, when he's expected to come back, hopefully he's
Not yet.
back for that match and their full power
I don't think so.
to
I don't
go
think he'll
against
be
that
back yet.
Roma defense.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, that one and Napoli Como probably the two most interesting matchups. But obviously, you and me, as Juventus and Inter fans, we're going to keep an eye on our teams. But that's it. I don't know if there was anything else that you wanted to add, Tito. I think we covered everything for today. Again, a
Yeah,
little bit awkward with some of the games in the current match day already having taken place, but we'll
definitely.
wait to cover that match day 9 and match day 10 on the next episode. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Let us know if you have any comments. Let us know if you also love fucking formations or if you
Yeah,
hate them or just
yeah,
don't like talking about it. What your
yeah.
opinion is, we appreciate it, everybody. Ciao, Marco Romano, Tito Yang. Appreciate you. See you on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.